Good morning. We are, or afternoon, whenever it is that you're watching this, we are going to be talking about measuring some more. But I'm really excited about today's challenge because I think you'll enjoy it. But first we're going to have to review some things so that way we make sure that you can recall what you need to be able to make your math project today. We're going to talk for a minute about subtraction keywords. The first word is remain. So how we bought a bag of 20 oranges and we've eaten 5. How many remain? So that would be a subtraction problem of 20 minus 5 equals 15. So that's how you would set up that problem. Yeah, it doesn't work very well when I write that way. Okay, so then difference, find the difference. Remember we talked about that the other day. Find the difference between maybe the length of two objects. So that might be, find the difference between a 15-foot pole and a 12-foot pole. What is the difference between the two? The difference, meaning a subtraction word, would be 15 minus 12. And if you stack that over each other and do it that way, 15 minus 12, do your ones, it'd be 3, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So 3 would be your difference there. Okay, and then how many more? An example of, there you go, how many more? Okay, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So how many more steps, or let's say how many more miles did car A drive than car B? Okay, so car A drove 67 miles. Okay, so that's a length, miles. So car A drove 67 miles. Okay, and the one way that they've been showing this in our lessons, and they will, or they have at least in the past on SAR tests as well, 67 miles, okay, and car B drove 42 miles. Okay, so what is the difference between what's the difference between the 67 miles that the one car drove and the 42 miles that the other car drove? Well, that could be a subtraction problem to find out how many more miles did car A drive than car B. Okay, so we would set that up 67, and remember this is called a standard algorithm when you set it up vertically being up and down. So 7 minus 2 is 5. So we have 5 ones, and 6 minus 4 is 2, so we have 2 tens, and that number, as you know, is 25. So 25 miles more. So car A drove 25 miles more than car B. Okay, now the way I've seen it written the most is with people jumping. So that could be something that you think about with your project, because your project is going to be setting up your own story problem. So one thing to think about would be maybe instead of miles driven, you could do compare would be maybe measuring 2 windows. When I'm trying to use material, and by material for a window I have to measure both windows because they could be different. Another word that we have here is less than, and that's a word used when you can't count an object. So specifically, so we wouldn't really use that in our story problems right now, because you might say one person has less sand than another person, or less food. Okay, but if it were bananas, let's say, then the word we would choose would be fewer, because I have 10 fewer bananas than my sister. So next we're going to review the different parts of a story problem.
So Marcus has 32 jump ropes in his store. Christopher bought 11 jump ropes. Olivia bought the rest of the jump ropes. How many more ropes does Olivia have than Christopher? Okay, so we're going to think about attacking this problem with a system, with a plan. And what is that plan? Do you all remember what it was from school? Just going to give you a minute to think about it. There's lots of plans out there, but we used one in particular. UPS check. Understand, plan, solve, then check.
All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to try to understand the problem. That is the letter U. Okay, so Marcus has 32 jump ropes in his store. Christopher bought 11 jump ropes. Olivia bought the rest of the jump ropes. But the first thing we have to do when we look at story problems is, what are they actually asking? Because I could have gotten an idea in my mind about what they were asking, okay? But sometimes the question, by the time I get to the end of it, is something very specific. Okay, so I'm going to put brackets around the story problem. I mean the question. I'm going to put them around the question. Okay, so now I have focused on how many more ropes does Olivia have than Christopher. Okay, so remember that tricky one, how many more? That's actually a subtraction problem. I mean, you could work it out on a number line and use addition, but again, that's only because addition and subtraction are opposite from each other. So that's how you could use addition to figure it out, but you're not adding the amount, just the numbers up there. Okay, you'd have to be using a number line to figure that out. All right, so understand the problem. Now I'm going to circle my numbers that I have and underline the terms that go with them. Okay, so I have 32 jump ropes. Okay, and then I have 11 jump ropes. And then I have my unknown. What's an unknown? That's what I don't know. I don't know my unknown. So the rest of the jump ropes, I'm actually going to go ahead, even though that's not a number, I'm going to circle it because that's what I need to know, the rest of the jump ropes. Okay, so that's the information that I have. And what am I specifically trying to figure out? Okay, I know, okay, so now I'm making a plan. And my plan, so U is understand, P is plan. So now I'm going to plan out. I need to know about Olivia, and I need to know about Christopher. From this, I know that Olivia has more than Christopher. So even if I wasn't sure at the beginning, I know now Olivia has more than Christopher. The question is, how many more? Okay, so do I really need to know Marcus's name? I don't have to know it. It's just his store, okay? Maybe it's called Marcus's Sporting Goods. I don't know. All right, so my plan is, because of this how many more, I'm going to put a subtraction sign over that how many more. Okay, because I'm making my plan. And my plan includes, is it addition or is it subtraction? Well, it says how many more, so I'm going to have to subtract some numbers. Okay. Now I need to solve it. Well, how do I solve it? I need to come up with a number sentence. Okay, so how many more ropes does Olivia have? Now when I'm subtracting, the bigger number has to go on top, okay? The subtrahend, the bottom number, is only going to be bigger in certain columns of my THTO place value chart, okay? So let's see what I have here. I have a total of 32, okay? And I know that Christopher bought 11 of them. So whatever is left is how many Olivia has. So I can take that number, 32, even though that's Marcus's, how many there were at the store. It's almost like you could think about it this way too, especially if you like addition. This plus 11 is going to equal 32. Okay, so that's one way to think about it that you don't know. You know Christopher's and you know Olivia's. Okay, so the other way to think about it then would be 32 jump ropes. And I'm going to take away 11 of them to find out how many Olivia has. Because this is how many there were all together. This is how many Christopher has. And I need to find out how many Olivia bought. Okay, so I'm going to start with my ones column first. 2 minus 1 is 1. That's my ones. And 3 minus 1 is 2. So I have 2 tens, which gives me the number 21 jump ropes. Okay. 21 jump ropes. So that's how many Olivia has. But I want to take it one step further because there are so many ways to think about subtraction. Standard algorithm is one of them. Okay, so I could also kind of think about jump ropes with base 10 blocks, and I could have 32. Remember, this is base 10 blocks, and then I need to take away 11 of those. So if I took away 11, that would be 11 is the number 11. That's not base 10 blocks. The number 11 jump ropes would look like 110 and 1 for base 10 blocks. Okay, so I can cross off 110 and 1. And what do I have left? I have 21 jump ropes. Okay, so that still gives me 21. And when you do Path Blazer tomorrow, there are several, or today, whenever you decide to do it, there are number lines. Okay, so I'm going to show that to you as well, so that way you can understand what they're talking about. We've done number lines before, but it's obviously been a while. It's been a while since we've done a lot of things. Okay, so here's my open number line. It goes that way, and it keeps going that way, so my arrows show that I'm not starting at 0. I'm starting wherever I want it to start. Okay, so I know on a number line I have 32 jump ropes. Okay, and one of the things they suggest is to just go ahead and subtract 10 and then 1. So your 10s first and then your 1s when you're going backwards. Because subtracting 10 is quick to do in your mind because you're just taking away 1 from the 10th spot and that's all you're doing. Okay, so 32, take away 10, and then take away 1. And this is the way Mr. Claypool does his math in his mind anyway. So we'll do 1 jump to get to 22. So I'm going to put minus 10 right here because that's what I did. And then I'm going to take away 1, which would get me to 21. Okay, so no matter what way you do it, if you do it standard algorithm, which I already erased, or if you do it with base 10 blocks, or you do it with a number line, no matter how you do it, you're still going to end up with Olivia bought 21 jump ropes. I'm guessing she bought it for her class, for them to be able to maybe just skip counting with jump ropes. A lot of people practice their multiplication tables with by doing jump ropes or jumping jacks, and that's a lot of fun, a fun way to get some exercise. And if you do that, you can always write to Coach Abel and tell him that you practice math while you did exercise. I think he would appreciate that. So you can always email him to or Miss Anderson or Miss M. If you do any of their work on their Google pages, you can email them and let them know. Okay, so make sure you review this part of the video if you need to again for those strategies. Remember, UPS check. Oh, we forgot to check our work. The way to check the work would be to add our answer back up to the number 11 to see if we get 32. Okay, so 11, you see that? Yeah, 11 plus our answer 21. Does it equal 32? Let's find out. Let's add the ones. Okay, that'd be 2. And then 110 plus 2 tens is 32, so we still have 32, so our answer.
Your assignment is to compare two objects or two distances and write one story problem. Make sure that you write the math sentence, solve your problem, and know that you may use this my story problem as long as you change the information. You can turn it in here in Nearpod or on the open answer slide. You may record it or type it, or both. And then finally, if you need to, you may turn it in through email, through class tag, or through text.